got a good one for you guys. I got a good one. It's not gonna shake the earth. It's not gonna, cause a tectonic shift. But I do think that it's worth putting on your watch list. The movie we're gonna talk about is called The Gate. It's got Mason Gooding in it. If that name sounds familiar, it's because you've seen him in Scream 5, Scream 6, and Scream 7. He's one of the twins. And you've also seen him be the leading man in the film Hard Eyes, a very underrated slasher that I really, really enjoyed and was on my top 5 of that year. Anything he's in turns to gold simply because he's in it. He's got so much charisma. He can play a leading man, he can play a villain. He's been in some really shitty movies as well, straight to DVD shit, straight to video shit, straight to streaming shit that I go, you're above this. You're so above this, man. But he always elevates whatever film he's in, no matter how shit it is. And I'm happy to report that this is one of the good ones. And it puts him front and center. He is the leading man in this, in a group of 3. The movie follows 3 college boys who are finally kind of getting back together after a while. And you have Mason Gooding's character, who is middle class suburbia, and he's trying to become a lawyer. He's going to school for law. And then you've got the middle friend who he's going to school, but he's got a football scholarship, so he's trying to go pro. And then you've got the third friend who is who lives in the hood, and that's all he reps. That's all he talks about. And so you have Mason's character, and then you have his character, and they're always butting heads. They haven't talked in a while, but they're always butting heads because their philosophies are different. And when it comes to life, when it comes to handling situations, and these 3 boys come together, they want to go to a party, and they get stuck in traffic. So they have a bright idea of taking a shortcut through a gated community. They're let in, and when they get to the exit gate, they find out that exit gate also needs a button. Now, if you've lived in any kind of community with a gate, whether it be a highbrow, thriving suburbia or a shitty apartment complex in the hood, you know that no matter what, either the gate is just always open or the gate opens automatically when you drive to it or through it. So this doesn't happen. So they have the bright idea of going to one of the neighbors and asking them to let them out. What they witness on the way there is a murder inside one of these homes by a pastor. And this pastor is like he is the leading figure in this community. Not only is he the leading figure in this community, he is responsible for the architecture and the infrastructure and pretty much everything having to do with the build of this suburbia. And he's also planning a mega church, which, mega churches, murderer, there's some synchronicity there. Now, what's funny is that the only sheriff in this town, in this suburbia, is in the pocket of this pastor. He's paid for everything. Everyone in this community looks up to him like he is some kind of Christ figure, and that's how he wants it. Because when you get to know this character, which by the way is played by James Beek, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I've seen him in a few things. This is his last role, or second to last role, prior to passing. I think he passed in February. So this is a hell of a role to be remembered by. I love having villains who are so bad that you find them unpredictable. And there's layers to them. Like, whenever he comes across someone in his community, they you could tell that they have love for him and they respect him, but to them they're just people to control. He's such a narcissist. There's one character who speaks very highly of him, and on occasion the villain reminds him that he's an alcoholic. He looks at him whenever he looks quiet or down, and he says, when's the last time you drank? Insinuating that this man that he's talking to, Christopher, has come through the other side in terms of alcoholism, but he likes to remind him of his flaws. Not only is he also trying to scam everybody out of their money, but he is like a believer in his own way. He truly believes in the theology of Christianity, so it makes him an interesting villain. And he definitely spares no words for not wanting minorities in this community. And our main cast is all black. So he does not, the way that he refers to them whenever he's speaking to people about these guys sneaking in is there are some undesirable. So he definitely doesn't mint any words when it comes to that. So the whole film turns into this chase sequence where the boys are trying to get out of this community. The gates are high. One of them gets injured, so they can't get him over. So they kind of tackle the, well, why don't you just climb the fucking gate? Well, because you've seen a murder, and you know for a fact that this guy who knows you who knows you saw him and witnessed this is not going to let you go. Clearly he's well connected, he's got money, and he's got a gun. So the film starts off with a decent enough setup, and it kind of wanes towards the second act. There is a sort of side mission that we take as the audience that is really there to complete a character arc, and it only means something to you if you're already invested in these characters, which I have to say, the main trinity of protagonists I actually really adore. I think that they're great characters. I think that they work really well off each other, and I think Mason Gooding has never been this good, and he's already great, but he's so good in this. The character that he plays is someone who's very logical. So every time he finds himself in a situation where he could pull the trigger and save everybody, he also realizes that the consequences of his actions well outlive him dying and this situation. Like, he wants to go to law school. All this to him is sort of a method of calculation. Like, what can I do? How can I play and manipulate the law? And he's always using his words, and you don't really see that a lot. Usually, you make a dumb decision as a character, and that's it. You make a dumb decision. The audience goes, "Come on!" But Mason Gooding in this portrayal can really convince you that whatever decision he's making is calculated and has long-term positive repercussions. So I really liked his portrayal. He is like, you got Final Girls. He is definitely a final boy type character, but he's a smart one, and I really enjoyed him in this. Just watching him do his thing, he was fucking awesome. What's even better is to have a villain who is as calculated and sort of he's a narcissist. So you have this sort of very brilliant villain who you love to hate, and then you have this good protagonist who you genuinely love, and he's very calculated, and they're going up against each other. And I'm a big fan of scenes where you have like the villain and the hero confront each other and have a conversation. I think anybody who can pull that off since Heat is brilliant, and they do that here, and they do that in a really brilliant one. That was one of my favorite scenes. But the third act goes in fucking sane, batshit crazy. It turns into a genuine mile-a-minute thrill ride where they're doing, you have the setup where it's already tense. They're here, they're caught in a situation. You get some fast-paced moments. It slows down in the second act because of that side mission that, unless you're immersed, really doesn't mean anything to you. You could cut those 15-20 minutes out of the fucking movie and it wouldn't change anything. But because I love these characters, I was happy to see the outcome of that second act, that 15 to 20 minutes completed an arc for one of the characters, and I enjoyed it. But you're not going to enjoy it if you're not immersed. That's the only thing. It sticks out like a sore thumb. But then the last 30 to 40 minutes, man, when things go ahead and they actually start having consequences to all the actions that are occurring, it turns into a sort of a modern neo-western. Characters you thought were evil kind of shift, and then characters that are evil, they become more evil, and there's people who can't be convinced that the pastor is evil start seeing that side. It's just so many character dynamics that start shifting, and then there's fake out endings, very much like Scream or very much like horror movies. I was very surprised how much I enjoyed this movie. I thought that because it was going to be in sort of the subgenre of horror that focuses on race, a lot like Get Out, that it was going to be derivative of every movie that's tried to do it since Get Out. Obviously, Get Out holds the trophy and the crown for probably doing it the best. That's the one that most people talk about. You had the remake of Candyman, which wasn't really a remake. It was more of a requel because it still had, OG Candyman in it. But where it talked about somewhat police brutality and stuff like that. But this film doesn't feel heavy-handed, like, at all. It does have a message that, racism exists, but not everyone is racist. And extremist Christianity exists, but not everyone not everyone solely depends on their faith to make moral decisions. That you just should be logical from a standpoint of just being a good person. And this movie has a really balanced take, like a genuinely balanced take. I was surprised how nuanced it was. It's not in any way, shape, or form the best movie I've ever seen. It's definitely not going to be on anyone's top 10 list, but for a movie whose trailer I was just like, this looks kind of just middle of the road, but I still feel like it's going to be good. And then watching it and being surprised that it's even better than I thought it was going to be, I highly think it's a good watch. I think that you guys, if you're even remotely curious to watch it, I think at the very least wait till it comes out on streaming. But there's some really good things in here that I was really surprised. Anyway, that's it on that review. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching, listening, and as always, I will see you at the movies.